I do hope you all enjoyed your lunch, and maybe the first metric of a good conference is that people actually come back after lunch. So I think we have a good metric today that people are really enjoying the conference, and also just from the level of buzz in the room, it's clear that people are getting great value out of the conversations they're having with one another at this great opportunity to meet with other people in the health service. And I think we were all struck this morning by the standard of the speakers and the various sort of different contributions from around the health service. And I must say, one of the things that has really struck me, I spent most of my career in private industry, and I've just been involved in the health service in different board positions for the last couple of years. And the bit that has really struck me is how incredibly complex it is. From the complexity of not really being able to control demand, to how do you fund it, to the multiple stakeholders with many different interests. And yet this service, this health service, I suppose in every country, is trying to deliver against that complexity without many of the capabilities that those of us that would have worked in private industry just take for granted. And a lot of that being around the capability around strategy, planning, execution, technology or whatever. But the two that strike me very much is that capability around strategy and execution. And I think it typifies great organizations that they can come up with very clear strategies. But the more wonderful organizations are those that can take the strategy and execute it. And those that can't, I like to think about them as suffering from IID, implementation deficit, or IDD rather, implementation deficit disorder. And I think some of our health service, unfortunately at times, has implementation deficit disorder. But I think we will hear from some of our speakers at this next session that is not a problem that they have. The first speaker I would like to introduce is Harry Cannon. And Harry is the General Manager of the Bon Secours Hospital in Cork. And now, as we all know, people who come from Cork are very bashful. They never speak really highly about their city or anything that goes on there. Very, very bashful, understated folk. So Harry is very unlikely to tell you that the Bon Secours Hospital in Cork is the biggest hospital in the Bon Secours health system. It is also the biggest private hospital in Ireland, and at one stage at least was the biggest private hospital in Europe. And quite a bit of that growth in the hospital in Cork has come under Harry's watch. So he became the general manager there in 2001, and since that time the hospital has doubled in terms of the number of patients it sees and in terms of its revenue. And that has happened under Harry's stewardship. So I think he's therefore uniquely positioned to talk to us today about the Bon's past, present and future. And the past hugely rooted in the mission of the founding sisters. And then we move into the future under a very exciting strategy and vision under the leadership of Bill and his executive team, but very particularly under a very detailed plan that will allow that strategy to be implemented. So if I can introduce Harry Cannon.
Good afternoon, everybody. So I'm going to talk today about Bon Secours' past, present and future. So I have about 200 years to get through in 20 minutes, so you'll have to listen fast if you can get that. And I'm also going to share in a little detail the Bon Secours 2020 plan. So this is an emblem you'll all be familiar with. You've been looking at it all day. This is the fleur-de-lis, and it's very important to Bon Secours because it represents the ethos and charism of Bon Secours in terms of its deep roots in our past, the living of it in our present, and also looking to sustain it, a word we've heard a lot of today, into the future. And that's part of what our future planning has to be all about. So where has Bon Secours come from? Bon Secours originated in Paris almost 200 years ago in 1824. The order was founded by a group of very young sisters led by Josephine Patel. I think Josephine Patel was 21 or 22 at the time, and her colleagues were all around the same age. So it was remarkable, really. And they responded to the needs of their community at that time by providing care to the sick in their homes. And again, at that time in Paris, that was quite novel and innovative. And listening to some of the speakers this morning, it looks like that's the way we're going to be heading back, to get closer to the home and actually out of the acute setting. So what does it mean? Bon Secours is the French for good help. And good help to those in need. This is the founding principle, the mission of Bon Secours since its very foundation almost 200 years ago, and it remains so today. So everything that we do in Bon Secours is grounded in this ethos. So in terms of history, the Bon Secours sisters, they started in 1824 in France, and on the back of the great work of those sisters, they were invited to bring their mission and their work to other communities. So they came to Ireland in 1861. They went to the United States in 1881. They were in the UK at around the same time. So the Bonds at the moment in the US has quite a huge health system. I think they've over 19 acute hospitals. They've 25,000 employees, a turnover of about €3.5 billion. So they have a huge operation in the US. And obviously in Ireland we have the Bon Secours health system. More recently, the Bon Secours mission has, from Ireland, they've developed a mission in Peru and also in Tanzania and South Africa in Zanin. So in terms of Ireland, 4 sisters arrived in Ireland in 1861. They came to Dublin first. In 1915, the Cork Hospital was built. 1921, Tralee. 1932, St. Joseph's Care Village was developed as a TB sanatorium. And 1951, Glasnevin Hospital was developed. The mission in Peru, which was an Irish mission, went in 1966. And in 1993, the Bon Secours Health System was established. So the Bon Secours Health System is a non-for-profit company, and it was developed to run and to manage the operations of the various healthcare facilities that Bon Secours had at that time. And we acquired the Galway Hospital in 1999. And as I say, the latest mission of Bon Secours has gone to Africa, and Tanzania was in the mid-noughties. So yes, the Bon Secours, a not-for-profit organisation, and people often ask us at induction, what does that mean? And we carefully explain to people that we're not for profit. There's no dividend. People are not in this for a return on investment, but we do need to make a surplus. We exist in the business world. We have to be able to survive in the business world. We have to keep up to date with technology. We have to maintain our infrastructures and all of that. So we do need to generate a surplus and survive in a business world, but it's not for profit. So our owner is not looking for a return on investment. The Bon Secours Health System has as its brand tagline, advanced medicine and exceptional care. And these, as you saw this slide earlier from Bill, so these are the various locations that we have. And we have the acute hospital facilities in Dublin, Galway, Tralee and Cork. And we have the Care of the Elderly facility also in Cork. And we have a consultation centre in Limerick. And Mike Tonery has asked me to not forget that we have just opened a new consultation centre in Cavan. And so that'll be operational from, I think, this week, Mike, so that's great. Okay, in terms of scale, the Bon Secours Health System, split across our various hospitals, have 876 beds in the system and about 2,700 staff. So it's a major player in terms of private healthcare in Ireland. In overall terms, we would admit over 100,000 patients in a year. As we say, 2,500 staff, 360 consultants, which would represent about 15% of all consultants in Ireland. So almost 1 in 6 consultants in Ireland work in a Bon Secours hospital to some degree. And as I've said, about 850 beds. So we saw this slide earlier with Bill. This is the mission, vision and values. I won't read through all of this other than to say that this is where we're grounded. This mission statement, vision statement and the values that are operational within all our facilities are grounded in that founding ethos of Bon Secours, good help to those in need. And you will have all of this in the packs that have been left on your desks. But I think if you read through the mission and vision, you will see it's very aligned to what we're here today for, patients, partnership and planning. So we've heard a lot this morning about the sort of change that has been happening in healthcare and what the future challenges are going to be. And the pace of change has been quite remarkable. In my time, I've been with the Bonds for, I think, 18 years now, and it's absolutely incredible the kind of change that we've seen. This etching on the left is something that we find going back in Bonds literature for years and years. It's in almost everything that you will see to do with the Bonds going back over the years. And, you know, it's an image of the Bon Secours sisters providing care in the home. And, you know, the image on the right, obviously, is an image from one of our, a more modern image from one of our facilities. But I'd just like to, and it does reflect the kind of change that has happened in healthcare, but I'd just like to play you this clip, which I think, it's not a healthcare clip, but I think it is, it does provide an example of the kind of pace of change that we are seeing in life, and particularly in healthcare. And it's one I think, I hope you'll enjoy it, because there's lots of different analogies that you can take from it. Can we play it, Dara?
But Holland comes in for a pit stop. Time to refuel and change tires. Lou Moore himself changes the tires. Only 4 crew members, including the driver, are allowed to work on the car. It's a tense time. Holland stays in his seat, anxious to get away. Let's watch. Tires are changed at last. A crewman polishes the windshield as Holland moves away just 67 seconds after he stopped.
So I think that reflects things pretty well. That's what it feels like. I'm not sure if it's better. That's a question, I think. Is it better? It's faster. It's definitely more expensive. Does it make it any better? I don't know. So look, what does it mean, all of that? What does it mean for Bon Secours? What is the future of Bon Secours? And we have been engaged, as you know, and Bill has mentioned this morning, we have been engaged in a strategic planning process over the early part of this year with a view to developing a 5-year plan take us from 2016 to 2020. We started our process and we, at the very outset, established some core principles. One, our mission and values would remain exactly as is. They are embedded. We would never lose the patient-centred exceptional care that we would provide in Bon Secours. And sustainability into the future was absolutely vital. And we've heard a lot about that this morning. What is sustainability into the future? We've got to try and find ways to make healthcare better, outcomes better, more affordable, sustainable into the future. And that requires for us to not keep doing the same thing, not keep going in the same ways that we have, but we've got to find innovations, we've got to find change. And so that will develop sustainability into the future. Engagement, we wanted to engage widely within the organisation, and to get where we are today, we have had quite a number of workshops across the whole senior leadership group across our hospitals. And we started our whole process with a SWOT analysis. So we did a very, very detailed SWOT analysis. Some of the items that we have come up with are summarised here. But that was the starting point of developing our strategy. So I'm not going to go through all of these. You'll see them in your brochure. But the strength, certainly one of our strong ones, is the ethos. It is the not-for-profit nature of our organisation. It's the heritage and the history that we bring to it. It's our size, the geography, the locations that we have our hospitals in. Opportunities, certainly we have opportunities to bring some lean processes to our operations. We have capacity for growth. We can develop relationships. Part of what we're talking about today is partnerships. We have lots of scope and see lots of scope for developing partnerships with other stakeholders as we go forward. So, our 216-220 plan, what is it? Well, in summary, there is one strategic vision. We have 6 strategic goals. We have 20 strategic initiatives. And in essence, that's our 2020 plan, which we'll talk through in a little bit of detail now. But it is certainly our aim and it's our hope that our 2020 plan, which will be delivered by our 2,700 staff and supported by an investment of 150 million over the next few years, will help us to progress with advanced medicine and exceptional care. So here it is. In terms of our strategic vision, what we're saying is that by 2020, we will, through our outstanding people, build an integrated healthcare system and be a recognised leader of innovative, exceptional care. The strategic goals: to enhance quality and exceptional care, to find greater efficiencies and new capabilities, to achieve further growth, to be a healthcare provider and employer of choice, more investment, innovation and research within our organisation, and to develop stronger relationships and partnerships. And these are the 6 strategic goals. So, strategic goal number 1 is to ensure to enhance quality and exceptional care in the organisation. And what will we see by 2020? Well, we will be appointing clinical directors across the Bon Secours Health System. A group director of quality and safety will be appointed. Additional accreditation and external bodies will be sought, and a continuous improvement in learning culture across the group will be established. In terms of greater efficiencies, we will see an expanded Bon Secours Health System function, and that has started to materialise already with new capabilities, more integration and efficiencies across our operations, and better sharing between the various hospitals. Further growth, and you've heard something of this already today, but on the back of the investments, we will be developing a new cancer centre in Cork. There's a new cath lab cardiology service to be developed in Galway. There's expanded endoscopy services have just recently opened in our Dublin hospital. Also, we have additional theatre capacity and endoscopy facilities to develop in Tralee. The Bon Secours Care Village will be opening a new wing with 30 new rooms. To be a healthcare provider and employer of choice, we will see an enhanced and a better engagement with our GP referrers, enhanced clinical engagement, which will help us to recruit consultants into the future. We'll be appointing a group HR director. In fact, that is well progressed, and I think John is due to take up post in the next week or two, and an even more engaged and cohesive workforce. Strategic goal number 5, more investment, innovation and research. So we will have improved facilities and infrastructure. We've mentioned 150 million, improved IT systems across the group, a new research function within the Bon Secours Health System, and a stronger research profile. We're partnering with the Royal College of Surgeons to co-fund a chair in medical professionalism, and we would hope to see that actually happen over the next couple of weeks. To build stronger relationships and partnerships, we will have more engagement with GPs, more active engagement with the insurers, a proactive engagement and collaboration with the public system, and more collaboration and strategic partnerships with academia and industry. So these 6 goals won't happen on their own. There needs to be initiative and change to make these goals materialise. And we have identified 20 strategic initiatives. Now, I'm not going to go through the 20 strategic initiatives. You'll see them in your pack. But what I will say is that the initiatives are all headed up by one of the senior leaders within the organisation, and they will all be resourced sufficiently. There is a project implementation plan for each one of the initiatives, and we'll come back to that in a little while. The 150 million investment, we have already seen some of this investment happen and more to come. I'm very pleased as the hospital manager to say that quite a large proportion of it will be in the Cork Hospital, and will see us expand the hospital significantly, including the development of radiation oncology services in the hospital in partnership with UPMC, and we're very much looking forward to that. In our Galway Hospital, as we say, new cath lab, Tralee, operating theatres, new consulting suites, new diagnostic centre which has opened recently, and a new wing in Mount Desert. So as we say, getting it done is often the hard part in this, and the strategy is paper, and we've got to try and make it actually happen, and that is the challenge, and it's been taken very seriously in the organisation. A board subcommittee has been established and will oversee the implementation and provide direction to the various initiatives as they're actually happening. There'll be an overall programme framework, and a project methodology will be established, and each of the project leads leading out on the 20 initiatives will follow that methodology and framework, and there will be regular review and strategic deliverables as the initiatives progress. So what will look different? By 2020, we'll have clinical governance and an improved quality system throughout the group, a process improvement capability and a continuous learning culture, a service model for the group and each hospital that supports growth, is innovative and meets the needs of our patients, more integrated operations across the group, a more engaged workforce sharing knowledge and working together to achieve even more, and new and improved facilities, infrastructure and IT systems. And from, I suppose, the business point of view, we will continue to stay true to our mission, vision and values, but we will grow revenue, we will deliver efficiencies, and we will invest in our people, our capabilities and our infrastructure. Now I'm nearly out of time, but in summary, it's one strategic vision, 6 strategic goals and 20 strategic initiatives. We will stay true to our founding mission, vision and values, and ultimately we will deliver advanced medicine and exceptional care. Now I know Bill told me that it's compulsory to have a quote from somebody more famous than yourself. I couldn't decide which one to go for. I was doing a bit of Googling, as you can see. Some of these are quite complicated, and in trying to decide which one to use, I came across this one. And that burst my bubble somewhat. So I decided to leave you with a sports one instead. And this is from Vince Lombardi, American football coach, where he says the only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. And I think that leads us into that we've developed our strategy. A lot of work has gone into it up to this stage, but the real work starts now, and we need to get on with it. Thank you all very much.